welcome. I'm Priya Shukla, coordinator of Project Create, and today we have with us Dr. Rajendra Pratap Gupta, the ideator and founder of Project Create. Project Create is a significant project at a time when we see mass layoffs happening. We are going to know more about Project Create from Dr. Gupta, who is a renowned policy maker who is also the former advisor to the Union Health Minister Government of India. As a senior leader, Dr. Gupta has worked with Fortune 20 and Fortune 500 companies in India and has been invited by various global organizations like United Nations, UNESCO, World Bank, and the World Economic Forum, among others, for his views on diverse topics. Dr. Gupta is the chairman of two dynamic coalitions at United Nations Internet Governance Forum, namely Dynamic Coalition on Digital Health and Dynamic Coalition on Internet and Jobs. He is also the co-chair of the Dynamic Coalition on Environment. And now it's time to disrupt the way technology moves to automation. He has a belief that technology will create jobs. And now let's hear it from him. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Priya. Thanks for having me.
Sir, to begin with, what does Project Create stand for?
So, in a sense, Project Create stands for jobs, but literally if you look at the meaning of this acronym CREATE is collaborate to realize the employment and entrepreneurship for all through a technology ecosystem. That's the acronym.
Okay. So you first mentioned about creating jobs using technology back at IGF Paris in 2018. How did you come up with this idea? And since then, how has the journey of Project Create been?
In 2018, I was writing this book, Your Vote is Not Enough. So in that book, I delved on a lot of data. I brought to fore a concept called cost of job creation. This was never mentioned anywhere. So I looked at what's the cost of job creation, how many jobs we need. I looked at multiple sectors, and I made a statement there in that book that forget creating jobs, it will be difficult to retain jobs. This was, I guess, ahead of time, but I could see the underlying shifts that were happening across sectors, and that we would see mass layoffs in the times to come. An economy as such didn't convince me that there is a market for jobs, and that's why I wrote this book. And so that time I was thinking, and I used to tell my colleagues that, well, technology and automation will take away jobs, but I'm sure there is a model that can lead to creating jobs for everyone using technology. And that time I would say that I don't exactly have that framework, but I believe over the next few years we can develop a framework where we can create jobs using technology. So the seeding of this thought came from that time, I guess around 17, 18. And then, eventually worked on it. I talked about it at IGF forums in Berlin, in Paris, in Poland, and again in Ethiopia we launched Project Create. I think there is potential to create jobs using technology, and Project Create is a culmination of that thought.
Definitely, sir. There is a potential. However, today when we are seeing job losses due to technology, and we have many layoffs in the recent past, and they seem to continue, how can you be telling the world that we will create jobs using tech?
So this has been our thinking, that we typically think in unidirectional model, and that doesn't work, with time. I think everything evolves. I clearly see if we go with the current model the way we think, we definitely will continue with mass layoffs. But there is a way we can reverse it, and we can end up creating jobs for every family, I would say, and livelihood for every individual. That's why the theme of this Project Create is Internet for all to livelihood for all. That's what we want to do. Now, how we will do it, and I'll give you a sense of that. So, conventional models, if you look at applying technology to them, what happens if you take a current model of retail and apply technology? The only thing that will have is it will take off redundant processes, make it efficient, make it cost effective, in effect taking away jobs. But this is the way traditionally big tech have thought. This is traditionally all tech companies and tech runners think, that apply technology to the current processes. or my thinking is little different. That if you use technology in a conventional system with the objective of democratizing it, so I'll give you an example. Like if I take retail today and I apply technology, I make an Amazon out of it, then what happens is that people buy from Amazon and the local mom and pop stores got a business. Now, if I connect local mom and pop stores on a tech network and let the people in that area order through the tech network from the same kirana stores, the mom and pop stores, then you would actually help them sustain and grow. And they could do bulk deals, they can do what you call the bulk buying. So it will actually end up not only retaining them but getting newer people in the model. Now, let me give you another example. So if you see the way current market for drivers was, like you hire a driver, you have a car, and then you just ride with them. If he or she is on leave, then you are stuck. Now, what technology was used to do in this sector was that technology created platforms. So I have a car, I can log on to Ola, Uber, or the other models that exist like Lyft, and I become a new entrant into this market. I now earn money out of being a driver at my own will and pace, and the consumer doesn't need to own the car. What has happened in effect, it's led to more car sales, more people getting into the system, getting jobs, making money at their own pace, and the convenience is that I can ride anywhere, anytime without bothering about parking, without bothering about having a car to get cleaned up, to get managed. So technology, when applied in a way where it democratizes the profitability, where it democratizes the ownership and just leverages a platform, you end up creating a newer market. So like typically with hotels in travel industry, it used to be like, a hotel would be a part of any of those booking portals and they could sell their rooms there. So we all went and booked it. But then comes Airbnb and Oyo. So they start listing people's spare rooms, their properties, and say, okay, you can list your property, you can make money out of that, people can stay. Now they have created a whole new market for the stays, moving out of hotels. So hotels continue to remain, but newer people have come into market, they make money. So the core principle here is you democratize the technology and also the profit. Don't shift the kind of old thinking into the bigger game. Typically what we do is the center of gravity rests with big tech. Well, we got to change that. I mean, the center of gravity has to change from just focusing on 4 or 5 tech companies to maybe democratizing it to individuals. So I think in Project Create, we are right now looking at 9 sectors, how we can apply this model of job maps, trying to figure out, what newer markets we can create and which will lead to millions of jobs. And I believe if we use these models, there are multiple, that we can look at, we can create. So we will end up creating jobs for every household. I'm of a firm belief that we don't need to fear technology. We need to adopt it and need to leverage it for job rather than fearing it for job loss. And Project Create will do that.
So that's the model that Create has. It will create newer jobs rather than looking at the old jobs.
Yeah.
So how can our viewers and interested individuals or organizations contribute to getting involved in supporting Project Create's endeavors?
So Project Create is about newer entrants into the market, getting every family a source of livelihood and job. So I think everyone needs to chip in, everyone needs to be a part of it. And more so for those who think very differently, because technology doesn't require incremental thinking. So if you use exponential technology with incremental thinking, the equation leads to net loss. But if you lead to exponential technologies with exponential thinkers, there will be exponential growth in markets. So I think we will create new markets for same conventional sectors with new technology, with a very radical approach. So right now we are working on retail, we are working on tourism, we'll work on agriculture, we'll work on environment, we'll work on education, health, infrastructure. So for each of these sectors, we're looking at people who could chip in the working groups, do the process mapping to job mapping, so that over time we keep building newer models. So it's going to be a continuous process, and we hope that by mid 2024 we will host the job summit. It will be the first job summit in the world where we focus on how much jobs we can create. And I think, to me, the final measure of economy is the number of job it creates. I mean, there's nothing else that I look at. I mean, you can talk of big GDP. So Saudi could have trillions of dollars of GDP, but it goes back to a few oil-owning families, who own those oil wells and the oil rigs. So GDP is a wrong measure. I think for me, the right measure of looking at economy is just how many jobs you create. So I think Project Create has a great potential, and everyone who wishes to be a part of this economic social revolution, I think, should collaborate in Project Create.
Very rightly said, sir. Like you always say, that in a digital world, technology should be creating jobs and not taking them away. Unlike what we see happening these days. So Project Create seems to be a really promising endeavor. It was a privilege to have you here, sir, and learn about Project Create's journey and its vision. For all those who are eager to know more about this initiative and become a part of creating the Create framework, visit our website projectcreate.tech or write to us at contact@projectcreate.tech. Thank you for watching.
Thanks. Let's create together.
Yes.